CMSportsNet is made possible by Genova's To Go.
Hi there, I'm Pat Stetzer, and welcome to a special episode of Game On. We're about to wrap up the 2023-24 Carroll County winter sports season like nobody else. So let's not waste any more time. It's Game On. The winter season started back in early December and it continued into mid-March, and CMSportsNet was there every step of the way. We chronicled county championships and watched teams make deep playoff runs. We recognized some of the top athletes from around Carroll and followed their progress throughout the winter. Now it's time to take a final look back at the season. You'll hear from the basketball and wrestling county championship coaches, and by the end of our show, we'll unveil the CMSportsNet Players of the Year for the winter. Let's tip things off with boys basketball, where one county team made program history and another got to within one game of a state tournament appearance. Time to look at the final Carroll County boys hoop standings. Manchester Valley captured their first county championship in program history. More on that in a little bit. South Carroll came out of that three-way tie in second place based on head-to-head tiebreakers, and you see 5 of the 7 teams finished with 500 or better seasons in the CCAL. Now we take a look at some of the season stats leaders, starting with scoring. 4 players averaged 14 or more points per game. Man Valley's Brendan Luddy led the way at 14.5. Ben Chenoweth from Century had that same average, but he missed some time with an injury. South Carroll had 2 players near the top of the scoring leaders in Peter Borgens and Micah Puckett, as did Francis Scott Key with Jordan Fulmore and Tyler Hansen. Let's go over to rebounds now. You can see the battle of the big guys in Carroll County. John Donald led the way there with 9.5 per game. Benson Sommerfeld right behind him, and Alex Thompson and Tristan West had a good tandem as well for Liberty. The assist leaders will be next, and you'll see Cole Jernigan from Liberty led the way, 4.7 assists per game. His crosstown rival Peyton Conway right behind him, and there's Tyler Hansen, so 3 guys with 4 or more assists per game in Carroll County. And then steals is our last category, and Tyler Hansen leads the way there, 3 assists per game. Darnell Harkless from Westminster played in a little less games, but he was at 2.5, and there are 3 Liberty players on that top sheet there for stat leaders, so a good job by everybody throughout the county. Okay, time to go through each county team in more depth, and we will start with Century. The Knights were 11-4 at one point, but February brought some inconsistency, and they finished at 14-9, 3-3 in the county. Ben Chenoweth led Century in scoring, who you just saw, and Peyton Conrad added 10.6 points and 4.3 assists for the Knights. Francis Scott Key improved from a season ago, but the Eagles posted a 4-19 record, and they went 0-12 in Carroll County. They did get 13 points and 6 rebounds per game from standout Jordan Fulmore, and Tyler Hansen gave them 11.8 points and a county best 3 steals per game. Liberty had a season similar to rival Century. The Lions went from 10-5 and finishing 13-10. They went 8-4 in the CCAL. Alex Thompson was second in the county at 14.1 points per game, and Cole Jernigan, who you just saw a minute ago, led the county with 4.7 assists per game for Liberty. South Carroll won a pair of playoff games and reached the regional final before ending the season at 14-10, and like we said, they did go 8-4 in Carroll County. Big man Benson Sommerfeld averaged close to a double-double, and Peter Borgens led SC in scoring at 11.7 points per game. The Cavaliers beat rival Liberty 3 times this winter, and they also handed Manchester Valley a county loss. Westminster started 2-8 and found it tough to recover. The Owls finished up at 10-13 and 3-9 in Carroll County, but they had some bright spots. John Donald, who led the county with 9.5 rebounds per game, and guard Micah Osgar scored 10 points per game this winter for Westminster. Winners Mill battled for the county crown, and the Falcons finished up 13-11, 8-4 in the CCAL. Owen Case led the way for Big Mill with 14 points per game, and Camden Cook grabbed 7.5 rebounds. The Falcons outlasted county champion Manchester Valley in overtime back in January. Speaking of Manchester Valley, they captured the school's first boys basketball county title, and the Mavericks went 15-8 and 9-3 in the Carroll County Athletic League. They crafted an 8-game winning streak to head into the playoffs behind top performer Brendan Luddy, whose name you saw earlier on the stat sheets. And now it's time to go a little more in depth with the Mavericks. I'm joined now by Manchester Valley boys basketball coach Chris Wonder. Coach, thanks for being with us today. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Coach Wonder led the Mavericks to a 15-win season and a 9-3 record against Carroll County teams. The Mavericks won their first ever county championship along the way. Coach, what comes to mind when you think about this year's county champion team? What are the first couple things you think of? Because it was a great season.
I would say fun. They were a fun group to be around and coach with our coaching staff and our players. Everyone got along. There was no drama this year, and they worked hard.
Yeah.
They were really driven to win this year, and our goal was to win the championship, and we stuck with that the whole year.
And it paid off in the end. You had that 6-0 start in the county, and then hit a bit of a lull. What were the one or two things that helped turn things around? Because from there, you guys really took off.
I think we kind of relaxed a little bit after we beat Century. Then we hit that rough stretch, and I think it was Brendan Luddy that said in the locker room, we didn't work this hard to blow it now.
Okay, yeah.
So we did have a brutal stretch where we had 5 games in 10 days.
Yeah.
And just being able to practice was important for us. So just our senior leadership saying, okay, what are we supposed to be doing?
Right.
We had work focused on offense, better ball movement, better player movement, and really locking down on defense again.
It just had that leader to say that thing before you guys really spark it and go take it to the next level.
Right, because it could have went either way from that point, losing 4 in a row and 3 in the county.
Right.
And 2 tough county games coming up.
Yeah, and didn't lose again in the county after that. We know Brendan was the leader this season. He had plenty of help. How did you see some of the other guys come into their own because you had that lull, right? You had to really see who was made with that tougher stuff, and obviously more than just Brendan.
Yeah, Carter Stroman was huge this year. He set the school record with 62 made threes.
Wow, okay.
For a season. He worked so hard over the offseason to improve his shooting. And to have him as a threat. Will Cuneo never got credit for everything he did for our team. But just his composure, nothing ever rattled him.
Right, another veteran too.
Another veteran that could go and score for us and bring the ball up when we needed to.
Right.
Then all the other players, Braylon Williams, he battled a toe injury for the first part of the year.
And Scrappy gave you guys minutes.
And started rebounding better and playing better defense and scoring. And he always had to guard the best player of the other team.
There you go, yeah.
Jacob Adami was a surprise this year. We weren't expecting him.
Okay.
So his ability to rebound for us
More
and
size.
play defense.
Yeah, more size for you too.
Because we were really undersized this year.
Yeah.
Then Grant Miller. He hit 5 threes against Westminster. Helped us beat them the second time around.
Right.
Then I want to say Colton Enderley. He went out there and scored 27 points.
Only a sophomore, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
From against Westminster.
Yep.
So all of those guys, we knew we had weapons.
Right.
And just blending together and working together was crucial.
You can't have a season like that without all those guys pitching in.
Right.
Yeah, well, it definitely paid off for you guys. Yeah. Well, congrats on a fantastic season, but we're not done yet with boys hoops. We have 3 finalists now for CMSportsNet Player of the Year. Let's go ahead and take a look at them now. You see on the screen, we have Man Valley's Brendan Luddy, Liberty's Cole Jernigan, and South Carroll's Benson Summerfelt. Time to talk about each player, and then we'll get some quick thoughts from you, Coach. We'll start with Cole Jernigan. The Lions senior went for 12.9 points per game, second best on his squad, and he averaged 4.7 assists. That was the top mark in Carroll County. Next up, we have Brendan Luddy from your Mavericks, the senior tied for the top scoring average in the county at 14.5 points per game. Also had 3 assists per game for the Carroll County champions. And we have SC junior Benson Summerfelt, who came on, averaged 9.2 points and 8.7 rebounds per game for the county runner-up Cavaliers, who reached the 1A regional finals this season in Class 1A. Coach Wonder, quick thoughts about each player. Start with Cole Jernigan from Liberty. What do you remember most about him?
Oh, he was a competitor. He went out there and he fought every day on the offensive end and defensive end, and his ability to get the ball to the basket.
Yeah.
And whether it was to finish himself, get to the foul line, or create for his other teammates was huge for them.
How about, Brendan Luddy very well. Just what made him rise to the occasion this year, other than what the good speeches he gave at halftime?
He was very confident in his ability, but he was so tough to guard. He could shoot the 3. He could get the ball to the basket. And when he got inside, he could hit the pull-up jump shot. He could post up, and then he would find teammates when people collapsed on him.
When you needed 30, he gave you 30. When you needed the clutch shot, he came through in the clutch as well. How about Benson Summerfelt? I mean, South Carroll maybe made some quiet in the beginning of the season. They came on great at the end of the year. He was one of their leaders for sure.
Oh, yes. I mean, Benson's really the main reason they beat us the second time. He had 19 points, 17 rebounds against us.
That'll do it.
His ability to rebound was crucial for them, and he just found a way to score inside.
Yeah.
Like, they had a bunch of guards that could put the ball in the basket, and he would always get an offensive rebound or find himself in the post, make a good cut, and able to finish.
Yeah. Well, Coach, again, we thank you for your time, and congratulations again on the first county title in Man Valley history.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Carroll County had a successful indoor track and field season this winter, so let's talk about that for a minute. Manchester Valley won a third straight county meet title on the boys' side with 112.33 points. The Mavericks held off winners on the slimmest of margins for that team victory. Then they placed third overall at the 3A West meet 2 weeks later. On the girls' side, it was Century yet again. The Knights finished with 148 points, won a fifth consecutive team championship. Century won a 2A West meet title after that, and they placed third at states. Well done by the Knights. The county crowned state champions as well. Liberty's boys 4x800 relay team in Class 1A, Westminster's Lucas Michael in the 3A boys pole vault, and Century's Kaylin Stein in the 2A girls 500-meter dash. Congrats to all those athletes. Okay, time for a break. We have plenty more Winter Sports Wrap-Up shows still to come. We'll unveil the CMSportsNet Player of the Year picks for boys basketball and girls basketball a little later on, so stick with us. Game On is coming right back.
Hungry? Genova's to go. Pizza, pasta, subs, and more. Fresh hot pizza right from the oven. Genova's to go. A mouth-watering cheesesteak just off the grill. Genova's to go. Fresh baked bread and plump wings seconds from the fryer. Genova's to go. Genova's to go carry-out, delivery, mobile device, and online ordering is available at all locations. Westminster, Hampstead, Manchester, and our newest dining room in Eldersburg. For lunch, dinner, or any time in between. Genova's to go.
Hey there, I'm Pat Stetzer.
And I'm Michael Duffy, inviting you to join us for The Score and more.
Each week we'll talk about high school sports in Carroll County. We'll share information about upcoming games, highlight coaches and athletes, and much more.
We'll even try to have a little fun along the way. Don't miss The Score and More podcast, presented by CMSportsNet.
The Score and More Sports podcast is available online at carrollmediacenter.org and on a variety of podcast channels. Skill, dedication, leadership. Just a few of the things it takes to be named CMSportsNet's Athlete of the Week. Each week, CMSportsNet recognizes an outstanding player for their contribution to their sport. Meet some of Carroll County student athletes and join us as we celebrate their performance, impact, and outstanding accomplishments.
CMSportsNet's Athlete of the Week is brought to you in part by Barnes-Bollinger Insurance Services. We're here for the home team. Barnes-Bollinger Insurance Services. And by Genova's to Go. Locations in Westminster, Hampstead, Manchester, Hanover, and Eldersburg. Genova's pizza, pasta, subs, and more.
Welcome back to Game On. Let's jump back into our winter sports wrap-up show. We'll stay on the court for girls basketball, and Carroll County had plenty to cheer for this winter. One team ended a drought to win the county title, and another made it to their first state championship game in 27 years. Time to take a look at the final Carroll County girls hoop standings. Westminster coming out on top at 10-2, Francis Scott Key winding up second at 9-3. 5 teams posted 10 or more wins this season. Now a quick look at the stats leaders for County Girls Hoops. We begin with scoring. Century's Harley Hamlet and Westminster's Maddie Gassman battled it out for the scoring title, and Hamlet edged Gassman for the top. You see 17.2 points per game for Hamlet and 16.2 for And we get to the second one now, Juliana Lesher at 9.9, and Liberty with Alyssa Gollenbeck and Gigi Hall with a couple of girls with 8.5 points or better. Gassman and FSK's Caroline Core tied for the top rebounds per game mark at 7.9. SC's Leah Miller was second there at 7.4, and you see Janae Pryor of Winters Mill coming in at 6.7. Keys' Abby Rieger had 102 assists and led the CCAL in average this winter. Teammate Summer Brooks added 104 for the Eagles. 3 girls there with 4 assists or more, pretty impressive, and Courtney Goff at 3.7. And then for steals, Rieger again topped the list at had 103 of them for Francis Scott Key. Maddie Gassman close behind, and Molly Smith coming in there with 79 steals and 2.9 for the Mavericks of Manchester Valley. Before we get to the CCAL season review, a quick shout out for Christelle girls basketball. The Falcons won the IAAM B Conference Championship. They beat John Carroll 41-39 on February 18th at Stevenson University. Christelle ended the season on a 7-game winning streak, and they went 10-0 in B Conference play this winter. Congratulations to the Falcons. Now we can break down each Carroll County Athletic League team from this past season. Start with Century. Century enjoyed an 8-5 record to start the winter, but the Knights endured a 7-game losing skid. They finished 10-14, 3-9 in county play. Harley Hamlet led the county in scoring at 17.2 points per game, and she added 6.5 rebounds and 2.7 steals for her senior year. Francis Scott Key came up short in its county title defense, but the Eagles were the last Carroll team standing this winter. FSK went 19-8 and played in the 2A state finals led by senior Drew Watkins and junior Summer Brooks. Watkins scored 15.2 points per game, and Brooks added 11.8 points with 4 assists per game. Abby Rieger, like we showed, led FSK with 4.3 assists and 4.3 steals per game. Liberty started the season at 4-9. They righted the ship though and posted 8 wins. The Lions went 6-6 in county play, and Alyssa Gollenbeck led the team at 9.7 points per game. Courtney Goff went for 6.2 rebounds, and she handed out 3.7 assists per game as well for the Lions. Manchester Valley went 6-6 against county teams and 13-11 overall, and the Mavericks were led by senior guard Autumn Stottlemyre and her 11 points per game. Reese Crestline, another senior from Man Valley, added 9.9 points, and she pulled down 6.5 rebounds. South Carroll surprised some with a 17-8 record and a regional final appearance, but the young Cavaliers went 8-4 in the county, and they competed with just about everybody this winter. Harley McKee averaged 15 points per game, and Leah Miller scored 9.4, and freshman Jenna Todd pulled down 6 boards per game for first-year coach Ryan Hutchison. Winters Mill started 0-6, and the Falcons couldn't quite recover. They finished 0-12 in the county, but they went 4-19 overall, and they had some positives. Freshman Hannah Neske, who scored 8 points per game, and Janae Pryor, who pulled down 6.7 rebounds a game for Big Mill. Westminster won the Carroll County title, the Owls' first since 2020, thanks in part to junior Maddie Gassman and senior Juliana Lesher. Gassman went for 16.6 points, 7.9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3.8 steals. Lesher added 9.8 points per game and 5.3 rebounds per game for an Owls team that went 16-8 and 10-2 in the CCAL, and now we get a chance to go a little deeper with Westminster girls basketball. Now we welcome Westminster girls coach Dave Urban to the studio. Coach, appreciate you joining us today. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
No problem. The Owls went 16-8 this winter and 10-2 in the Carroll County Athletic League to win their first county crown since 2020. Westminster won 11 of 12 games after a 3-5 start. That included big wins over South Carroll and Francis Scott Key to secure that county title. Coach, when did you know that your team had the makings of such a season? Because it did go kind of one way and then it went the other way in a big swing.
Well, actually, in the beginning, every team has to try to find itself, what its identity, what changes from the previous year into the new year. Mm-hmm. And we kind of had an identity crisis the first 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
So the Liberty game, which I think was our 3rd or 4th game, mm-hmm. Getting into the second half, I think that's when things started to change. I did something I've never done in my coaching career. I played zone.
First time ever.
My assistant coach, Sarah O'Donnell, who played for me, was like, "You're playing what?" So we switched to zone. We switched into kind of some other things that we don't typically do. And it was just like, look, you guys are playing stiff. You're thinking too much. Go out and have fun. And let's just kind of push, to try to create and do something.
And it worked.
And it worked. We were down 12 starting the fourth quarter. And they go and score 24 points. I think it helped somebody like the younger players, like Brindley Bogue, who's a freshman. 3 games into her varsity career, all of a sudden you saw her playing a lot looser. Getting hands on balls, making some nice passes. Then you had some 3-point, and ones that kind of converted out of that. Kaylin Battle kind of elevated, and all of a sudden things just seemed, more at ease, and they were having fun out there. So I think that was the kind of the point, and I brought it up to him several times, during the course of the year. You scored 24 points in about, 6.5 minutes.
Less than 8 minutes, right? And that sparked this year's, that kind of got you guys going. What was that spark that got you to embark on that 11 wins in 12 games? It was after that, of course, but things started going in that direction. Was there 1 or 2 things that really took off from there?
I think after that, we tried to implement some different things, but then that set us up for the key game. The first one, and I think that's when the spark kind of, ignited a little more out of everybody. So you had, the rest of the girls, like the seniors. We had a great senior corps. So you had people doing things that were comfortable to them.
And it worked out.
Maddie Bunning was, good at being physical with, on the defensive end, and spacing on the offensive end. Little things that kind of came through. Kaylin Battle started to hit some shots. Jillian Blue Ball started to be a defensive rebounding.
Grabbing rebounds,
which we were small, so we needed. Araceli, all of a sudden, she hit 1 or 2 a game, and then, against Century, she explodes for 7. And then you just had the stalwarts there in Jules Lesher, who just did everything that didn't show up on a stat sheet, that just kind of calmed the team down and got them in the situations we needed. And Maddie and her played off of each other.
You had Maddie leading the way, but you just mentioned it. You had contributions from all over the court, on the bench, and a successful JV season. Some good feelings, I would think, Dan, about the program going forward, where you guys, what you did this year and what you want to do in the next couple of years.
I think we've had some good continuity over the past 4 or 5 years. JV program has been, led by Sarah O'Donnell, Joey Conklin.
Former Westminster players.
Both Westminster players. I think the continuity, bringing the kids in over the summer, not forcing basketball down their throats, but more weightlifting, conditioning. How to embrace that side of the athletics that is going to build your confidence for whatever you're, I don't care if you're lacrosse, soccer, basketball. Those things are going to have kind of a good ripple through effect on no matter what sport you played.
Let's take a look at the finalists for the CMSportsNet Girls Basketball Player of the Year. We have Westminster's Maddie Gassman, Century's Harley Hamlet, Francis Scott Key's Drew Watkins. We're going to take a close look at the finals, and I'll get your thoughts on them just in a minute. First up is Maddie Gassman. The junior led the county with 7.9 rebounds per game and was second in scoring at 16.6. Plus, she added 4 assists and 3.8 steals for the county champs. Century senior Harley Hamlet led the county in scoring, 17.2 points per game, and grabbed 6.5 rebounds, while picking up 2.7 steals per game for the Knights. And then we have FSK senior Drew Watkins, who averages 15.7 points per game and grabs 4.9 rebounds. Watkins led the Eagles to the second place finish in the county standings. Coach Urban, quick thoughts on each player, and start with Maddie Gassman. I know you can talk about her forever, but just first thing comes to mind.
Maddie is just attacks whatever you put in front of her. I mentioned weightlifting earlier. She really took that to heart this summer, in through the fall, and it showed. I think her conditioning, her strength, and we leaned on her. I don't think I took her out, unless she had foul trouble. The entire year, and she never looked tired. So she bared the burden of being a point guard, being a forward, being a center defender sometimes, being our rebounder. she had to do all those different, pieces, and she just, was consistent.
Yeah.
So every game, no matter what somebody threw at her, she still managed to put up the points. But the big thing for us was rebounds.
Yeah.
She helped us control situations.
And led the county. Harley Hamilton Century, what made her so tough?
I think she's just relentless.
Yeah, good word.
What I saw was just a constant north to south. She probed,
Yes, good point.
probed, and then if she saw a gap of daylight and she got a shoulder around you, she hit it. She dribbled so low to the ground that it didn't matter if somebody was trying to, move into that gap.
Right.
She was through there. But I think the biggest thing was she finished.
Drew Watkins from Key, someone else who finishes near the basket.
Well, I think the biggest attributes I see in somebody like that is there's just kind of an innate understanding of space and angles. And that's something you can't really teach.
Yeah, okay.
Some people just know that, okay, in order for this to work, I need to see things happening 2 plays ahead of time.
Right.
And she's got passers on that team that if she goes and gets that angle, they saw it and they could get it to her.
Yes. No doubt. Coach Urban, awesome insight, and once again, congrats on the county championship and on a great season. Appreciate your time.
I appreciate you coming or having me in.
Yeah. Coming up next, we'll be talking with both of the county's championship wrestling coaches and a look at the finalists for the co-ed and girls wrestler of the year. Plus, we'll unveil our 23-24 winner athletes of the year at the end of the show. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Hey there, I'm Pat Stetzer.
And I'm Michael Duffy, inviting you to join us for The Score and more.
Each week we'll talk about high school sports in Carroll County. We'll share information about upcoming games, highlight coaches and athletes, and much more.
We'll even try to have a little fun along the way. Don't miss the Score and More podcast presented by CMSportsNet.
The Score and More Sports Podcast is available online at carrollmediacenter.org and on a variety of podcast channels. Skill, dedication, leadership. Just a few of the things it takes to be named CMSportsNet's Athlete of the Week. Each week, CMSportsNet recognizes an outstanding player for their contribution to their sport. Meet some of Carroll County student athletes and join us as we celebrate their performance, impact, and outstanding accomplishments.
CMSportsNet's Athlete of the Week is brought to you in part by Barnes Bollinger Insurance Services. We're here for the home team. Barnes Bollinger Insurance Services. And by Genova's To Go. Locations in Westminster, Hampstead, Manchester, Hanover, and Eldersburg. Genova's Pizza, Pasta, Subs, and more.
Welcome back to Game On. Let's get back into our winter sports wrap-up show. All right, roll out the mats. It's time for us to look back at the 23-24 wrestling season, one that was dominated by a traditional power and ended with gold at the state championships. A look at the final wrestling standings for the season. South Carroll put together an undefeated winter. The Cavaliers won a third straight 1A dual state title along the way. Manchester Valley had a stellar year as well, and Liberty took third in the CCAL standings by season's end. There were 14 co-ed wrestlers crowned as county champs at the annual county tournament that took place February 16th at Westminster High School. We can check them out right here, the winner of each weight class and their final record on the season. Grayson Barnhill didn't lose a match and capped his sophomore year with a state title. Liberty's Dylan Oler made it to a state final before he finished second after becoming a three-time county champ. The upper weight saw Man Valley's Crew Boog become a three-time county champion as well. Kevin Kern gave Liberty a second co-ed county champion when the sophomore won at 190 pounds. A South Carroll finished with 8 county champions, so now it's time to dive a little deeper into the Cavaliers' season. I'm joined in studio by South Carroll wrestling coach Brian Hamper. Coach, appreciate your time today. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
South Carroll went 26-0 in dual meets this winter and captured a third straight Class 1A state duals championship. The Cavaliers also won the Carroll County tournament and crowned 4 individual champs at the annual state tournament back in early March. Coach, the Cavaliers silenced all the doubters. It may or may not have been me earlier in the season. I don't really remember. But anyway, graduated a lot of top-notch guys from a year ago. When did you know this year's team had something special?
So we knew right away, with the guys coming in and the guys we returned, there was going to be a special team. Obviously, losing the 4 seniors that we did and losing Manny Rodriguez, a returning state finalist, to an injury in a football season, we knew that was going to hurt. But we really believed with what we had in the room coming back and then also the new guys coming in that we'd have a great fit.
It was super impressive. 4 state champs this year: Grayson Barnhill, JoJo Gelati, Landon Hamper, Anthony Rodriguez. All those guys being on the mat were special moments. But to be there on the mat with your son with a state title, I know there was some tears shed that day. How sweet was that?
It was exciting. Really going into that match, I knew that he had a great opportunity to get to his scoring offense, and if he could do that, he was going to have a great night. And all of those guys being sophomores, it was exciting. Bringing those guys back, having those 4 to anchor that lineup, it's a pretty special group of kids, and we're excited about what they have done and then what's to come.
Yeah, the new Big 4, as they were called afterward. A young squad, we just talked about it, that looks to return pretty much everybody from this year, and you're going to add even more youth to, in the year to come. Where does South Carroll go from here? You've been undefeated now with the duals. You're racking up dual meet state titles, and you're getting individual state champs. Where can you guys go from here?
I think we're just starting to scratch the surface of where we can really be. Wow. I believe that the kids every year are going to be a better version of themselves, and then when that happens, they bring everybody in the room up to a level, and that's what you got to see with our young kids this year. Is last year, they were battle tested. They had those goes in the room every day with those seniors that have now gone to college and are having successful college careers.
Right.
They got to beat up on those kids every single day in the room. And, you're just going to get better with that type of atmosphere and the guys with that type of work ethic. And we're excited about our young kids. They bought in early that, hard work was the way to go. And, really, when you have young kids, it's important to get to them early to be able to, show them what the level of training looks like. And to have a leader like JoJo in the room, he pretty much sets that standard. And, that's a lot of weight to carry as a sophomore, but he stepped up all along the way and has really, kind of set that standard for what a South Carroll wrestler is supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, speaking of those guys, it's time to unveil our finalists for Co-Ed Wrestler of the Year. And we have 3 wrestlers Coach Hamper knows quite well: JoJo Gelati, Grayson Barnhill, and Anthony Rodriguez. That's 3 of South Carroll's 4 state champs. Let's start with Grayson Barnhill. Put together an undefeated season at 34-0 with 30 pins. Barnhill won county, region, and state titles as a sophomore. JoJo Gelati, another sophomore, posted a 51-1 record. He lost only to a non-Maryland opponent. Gelati had 39 pins, won his 2nd career state championship back in early March. Anthony Rodriguez, also a sophomore, won his state title in a thrilling overtime match. Rodriguez went 47-3 with 30 pins this season for South Carroll. Coach Hamper, quick thoughts on each wrestler. Start with Grayson Barnhill, you lightweight.
Grayson's just a pinning machine. Grayson's one of those guys that he's kind of embraced that mantra of, we don't get paid by the hour. We go out there, get after it, get off the mat. Bad things happen when you let kids, stick in matches that too long. And he really gets to his attacks, and he feels very comfortable. And he's a strong kid. At that weight, he's just a powerful machine. And put together as impressive postseason as I've ever seen.
He was barely on the mat, and he racked up 12 wins or whatever it was, 10 wins, and obviously a state title. JoJo Gelati, we talked a lot about him already, and just how impressive he's been in his first 2 seasons.
What's impressed me so much about JoJo this year was just the maturity that he showed on the mat. Everybody when they wrestle JoJo is going to try to give them his best effort, and he chased down every hard match all year long. He beat multiple state champions, and did it in dominating fashion. He's one of those guys that can score from any position, and in addition, like his leadership qualities this year is what stood out from years past. And being a sophomore, stepping up like that was a crucial part of our success.
And then Anthony Rodriguez, a guy who was following in his brother's footsteps. How did you see him perform this year?
I was so excited about Anthony this year. We call him Tank, but Tank really kind of stepped out of his shell. He's his brother's big shoes to fill. Coming from a guy like AJ who had the career he had, and then Manny who's just been dominant in his time as well. And this was a chance for Ant to get out there and show what he had, and he had a phenomenal season. And being that guy in the upper weights that we can look to for big matches and big points, it was a huge anchor point of our lineup, and he did a phenomenal job all year long.
Yeah, those guys and many more. Coach Hamper, thanks for spending some time with us. Congrats on another great season.
I appreciate it.
Yep. Now we shift to girls wrestling. Let's take a look at the county champions and their final records from the season. Man Valley's Faith Day earned county title number 3. The senior placed 3rd at states. Mavs teammate Layla Lagunas also won her third career county crown. Liberty's Aubrey Oler got to a state final in her first varsity season. The upper weights, Winters Mill junior Gabby McLeod also competed in the state final at Showplace Arena in early March. McLeod helped the Falcons win the team county championship in February. And let's hear a little more about Winters Mill. Time to welcome Winters Mill girls wrestling coach John Lowe to the set. Coach, thanks for joining us here today.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thanks for having me.
Winters Mill fielded a full squad this winter and went on to win the Carroll County Athletic League team tournament title in mid-February behind 3 county champs. The Falcons outlasted reigning champ Francis Scott Key to finish with 124 points at counties. Big Mill went on to place 8th as a team at the girls' state tournament. Coach, after spending many seasons on the sideline on the co-ed side for Winters Mill, what drew you to come back to coach the girls?
Well, it's interesting. When I got out, I handed it over to then head coach Eric Mazzaros and planned on doing other things. I did some officiating and was going to try some other stuff, and had gotten underway with that. And then the MPSSAA said, we're going to start girls wrestling without much of a warning. And Eric came back and said, please do not retire yet.
Not yet.
And my first answer was like, all right, but I'm going to come and go as I please. I'll teach some technique here and there. And in the first year, not as many girls. Practices were together in a small space, and attendance was now and then. And then
it's going that way.
Things kept going up. And then and after the COVID year, which Carroll County was the only one who participated, we actually had 5 girls out, taught some technique. By the time I came back, we had 16, and I realized, okay, this is a thing.
You're in.
And I have to say, I really do enjoy coaching female athletes. It's a different ball game. Many things are the same. I mean, they're athletes, they're high school kids. They still got to focus on the same things. But the girls listen very well, and they're appreciative. And the idea of creating kind of a family situation is right along their lines. And so I've really enjoyed it. I'm glad I did it.
Great. Winters Mill didn't have a ton of champions at counties, but up and down the lineup, you guys scored plenty of points, and they scored enough to win. What does that say about this year's group, what they were able to do there in the postseason?
We didn't have a senior in the starting lineup, so we're young. And they're quick learners, and they're all progressing. So if everybody's scoring a few points here or there, it says to me that they're getting close, and that they, I think, can be contenders.
And obviously it turned out for you guys. If not for a few injuries at states, it seems as if you guys were poised for a top 5 finish as a team. What are the expectations of the program going forward from that experience and what you just mentioned, the young group? You got to like the way the Winters Mill girls wrestling is headed.
I've been trying to get into their head. Look, we really can contend. We're going to be threats to win. And again, the injuries happen. We had 3 ankles go this year. Ankles are not usually that big an injury in wrestling, and we had 3 of them. And so 4 or 5 starters were down by the time we got to the postseason. They still put some points on the board at states. And if you win a match at states, it tells me you belong there. I look at some of the teams that finished ahead of us at states, and they only had like 2 or 3 girls, but they did very, very well. And it says to me that if all of these girls get their game on at the right time, they're gonna.
And if their mindset is there,
they're gonna have a chance to really, not just contend, but really win big.
Make big statements for sure. Well, now I'm going to take a look at the finalists for Girls Wrestler of the Year. We have 3 up: Winters Mill's Gabby McLeod, Manchester Valley's Faith Day, and Liberty's Aubrey Oler. Day went 23-2 and won her 3rd career county title before she placed 3rd at states. Oler burst onto the varsity scene with a 20-5 record and a spot in the state finals before taking 2nd in her freshman year. And McLeod was unbeaten at 20-0 for Winters Mill before losing to a 3-time junior national champ in the state finals. Coach, we talked about all 3 of these at some point, but we'll talk about each one of them now. Start with Faith Day, just if you remember back to what she did for
anybody who's been coaching in the county knows all of these young ladies. The Oler family and the Day family have been around forever. Her grandfather is a Hall of Famer. Her dad was a state champ. Faith has been a hammer since the very beginning. And returning state champ, her expectations were high, and she was just a monster. Like, girls don't want to wrestle her because they know how tough she is. She competes with a lot of the guys that she wrestles. She's strong, she's knowledgeable, so a real pro.
And she loses that semifinal, and then she comes back and gets 3rd, which is always a big deal.
And that semifinal was just unbelievable. It was. I was glued. I was supposed to be down on the floor and went up the girls, and I stayed up in the stands because I had a good shot, and I need to watch this all the way through. It was phenomenal.
How about your own Gabby McLeod? What a great season she had to get all the way to the finals.
So Gabby, she wasn't scored on all the way until the finals. She has some of the most uncanny balance, strength, athleticism of anybody I've ever coached. And when she learns something, she is explosive with it and very, very dangerous. You know, I've seen her where she's being outscored by a better opponent, and she turns it around and finds a way to pin that opponent. And so, you know, I told her, we knew what it was going to be like going to the finals against Nebby Sarney.
Sure.
Literally the outstanding wrestler of the entire country. And I said, but you're dangerous. So she's a lot of potential, and I think, you know, compared to the other two girls, maybe doesn't have as much technical background. They've got families that have been wrestling, but I look forward to seeing what she's going to do next year.
It's a winner's mill special. And what impressed you the most about Aubrey Oler and what she was able to do?
So same thing. Aubrey was coming into our open mats when she was in middle school. You know, both of her brothers, they're excellent wrestlers as well. Watched one at college at some of the tournaments that my son was wrestling in. And the younger one, of course, phenomenal season as well in the finals.
On the co-ed side,
great family. She impressed me because, you know, no matter how good you are at the junior level, you never know what it's going to be like when you get into the real heavy duty pool. And she obviously did awesome. Like she was a monster all year long.
All the way to the finals,
and couldn't wait to see what that final was going to be like because that young lady was top notch too. The lady that beat her in the finals was the outstanding wrestler in our co-ed tournament this year. So I knew that was going to be a barn burner as well.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it's onward and upward then for all three, and Faith will move on, and then the other two will be back, I'm sure. It'll be fun to watch.
Yes, indeed.
Coach John Lowe, appreciate your time today, and congrats on a great season.
Thanks so much.
Time for another quick break. When we come back, you'll find out who we picked for the CMSportsNet Winter Athletes of the Year. So stick around, because we'll be right back.
Hungry? Genova's to go. Pizza, pasta, subs, and more. Fresh hot pizza right from the oven. Genova's to go. A mouth-watering cheesesteak just off the grill. Genova's to go. Fresh baked bread and plump wings seconds from the fryer. Genova's to go. Genova's to go carry-out, delivery, mobile device, and online ordering is available at all locations. Westminster, Hampstead, Manchester, and our newest dining room in Eldersburg. For lunch, dinner, or any time in between. Genova's to go.
Hey there, I'm Pat Stetzer.
And I'm Michael Duffy, inviting you to join us for The Score and more.
And each week we'll talk about high school sports in Carroll County. We'll share information about upcoming games, highlight coaches and athletes, and much more.
We'll even try to have a little fun along the way. Don't miss the Score and More podcast presented by CMSportsNet.
The Score and More Sports podcast is available online at carrollmediacenter.org and on a variety of podcast channels. Skill, dedication, leadership. Just a few of the things it takes to be named CMSportsNet's Athlete of the Week. Each week, CMSportsNet recognizes an outstanding player for their contribution to their sport. Meet some of Carroll County student athletes and join us as we celebrate their performance, impact, and outstanding accomplishments.
CMSportsNet's Athlete of the Week is brought to you in part by Barnes Bollinger Insurance Services. We're here for the home team. Barnes Bollinger Insurance Services. And by Genova's to Go. Locations in Westminster, Hampstead, Manchester, Hanover, and Eldersburg. Genova's pizza, pasta, subs, and more.
Welcome back to Game On. It's almost time to find out who earned CMSportsNet Player of the Year honors for the winter. But first, let's take one more look at the Athletes of the Week selections from the 2023-24 winter season. Congratulations to all the recipients of the season, and all 7 of the county schools were represented. Very well done. All right, it's time. CMSportsNet Player of the Year and for winter sports, and we start with girls basketball. Our finalists, Westminster's Maddie Gassman, Century's Harley Hamlet, and FSK's Drew Watkins. And our pick for CMSportsNet Player of the Year is Maddie Gassman from Westminster High School. Maddie led the Owls to a county title and filled the stat sheet all season long. 16.6 points per game, 7.9 rebounds per game, 4 assists per game, and more. Bob Blueball recently sat down with the junior guard to talk about her outstanding season.
First off, Maddie, congratulations on a great year. Really, you guys were not expected necessarily to win a county championship. So first of all, talking about the team performance, what were you guys able to do to come back from not the best start in the road? You guys were 3-5, I think, and 1-2 about a month into the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just came together as a team, and we always believed in ourselves. And there was times when everything wasn't going how we wanted it to, but we collected ourselves towards the beginning of the season and really just ended up with a great year.
You did. Among those, part of the great year was some great comeback wins. I think you guys were down by double digits against Liberty. You were down against FSK in an important game, playing out there, and of course you were down by 11 with 3 minutes to go against South Carroll. So if you could talk a little bit about, if you lose any of those games, then the county race is a whole different thing. So can you tell us a little bit about, both how you were able to help the team come back on the court and also keep the belief going so that nobody lost faith that they could come back and win those games?
Yeah, I mean, everybody knew that we needed to win those games in order to keep in contention for the counties, but we just knew that each game, every game we went just quarter by quarter, minute by minute, like every possession we knew that we had to just try our best, and when it wasn't going as well as we hoped, we collected ourselves and knew that the game wasn't over yet, and we were able to just push through and get the wins.
Did you have a particular moment or game this year that was your favorite, or something that you're going to be looking back on 10 years from now and thinking about?
I think the FSK games were really big for us because they won counties last year and they're a really, really good team, and I think we knew those were going to be some hard games. South Carroll too, they're a really good team, so just knowing that, just getting those wins was really good for us.
Great. And South Carroll, you hit a buzzer beater, I think, to send it into overtime. You did get that off in time, right?
I think so. The refs called the game and they counted it, and we just knew the overtime we had to keep pushing, and we got the win.
But have you ever been involved in a game like that where you're down by 11 with 3 minutes to go and you're able to come back and win it?
Not that I remember, but I think just knowing that was a big game for us, we needed to win, and just knowing that we were down but we weren't out of that game and just continuing to push, and we got that big win for us.
That's super. Now, so personally, individually, I think you finished in the top 2 in the county in scoring, rebounding, assists, and steals, which is phenomenal achievement. I think about 17 points a game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists and 4 steals. So what do you enjoy the most? Is it hitting 3-pointers? Is it slicing through the lane to make a layup? Is it skying over somebody to grab a rebound, or finding somebody on an outlet for a layup, picking somebody's pocket? What do you like to do best?
I just like to do whatever I need to for the team to win. I think getting assists is really fun, just having the team celebrate each other's passes and just working together to get the wins.
That's great. That's great. So I know your coach said that he uses you in all kinds of different situations. Everything from point guard to center. He barely ever takes you out of a game. So what was that like for you this year? How do you stay in it both physically and emotionally?
I think I just knew the role that I would have in this team would be a big role, and just staying in the game knowing that every possession matters, and I just had to do whatever I could to help the team.
What types of things do you do? I mean, he said you don't even look like you're breathing hard or anything. Was that the case, or did you get tired every now and then?
I mean, towards the end of the games, I obviously got tired, but working hard in practice just to keep up with that momentum and being able to play those whole games was big. But just really doing anything that the team needed. In every game, it was different, but just, yeah.
Okay. So what do you do for an encore now? I mean, Westminster, after a great season, you guys lose, I think, 5 seniors, some people you've been playing with for 3 years or longer than that for AAU. And then so what specifically can you do to help the team next year when everybody's going to be looking at you? But more importantly, how about individually when the target's going to be squarely on your back? Everybody's going to be looking at you and trying to beat you.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not really going to think about that, more just for the team and just in the off season doing what we can to build connections with each other, because it's going to be a young team. But yeah, just working together and preparing for a good season.
Right. Do you see yourself as a leader?
Yeah, I think I lead more by example. I'm quieter, but I think I'll step into a bigger vocal role next year, but just doing what I can, showing by example and energy, and just helping out the team.
So just wrapping things up, your sister's a Division I athlete. Your athleticism would have translated to pretty much any sport, I would think. What was it about basketball that kind of captivated you and got you from a very early age? And then looking forward, what are you planning on doing after high school?
Yeah, I think basketball, the team aspect of it, it's not always about one person, it's about the whole team. And every play, every possession of every game is different. And just bringing that energy and really coming together as a team is fun. And then after high school, I plan on playing in college, and just, not everything is about basketball, but I am excited to hopefully have 4 more years.
Super. Well, congratulations again. Thank you very much for spending some time with us, and great year.
Thank you.
Kudos and congrats to Maddie Gassman, the CMSportsNet Girls Basketball Player of the Year. Like we said, Maddie, one of the top players in the region all winter long. All right, let's move to boys basketball, and we will see our 3 finalists for CMSportsNet Player of the Year. We have Manchester Valley's Brendan Luddy, Liberty's Cole Jernigan, South Carroll's Benson Sommerfeld. Our choice for boys basketball Player of the Year is Brendan Luddy from Manchester Valley. Brendan, 14.5 points per game, and he helped the Mavericks to their first ever county title. He added 4.3 rebounds and 3 assists per game for the Mavs. I recently sat down with the senior guard to talk about what this season meant in Manchester. Brendan, congratulations on a fantastic year. County champions, for the first time in school history. I know that's a big deal, but you guys took it up another level this year in 23-24. What was different? What was different for yourself, and then what was different with the team that got you guys to where you got with the county championship?
Replacing the leadership of X and Markel, we knew it was going to be huge. So instead, it was all 6 seniors this year. We were all leading everybody, kind of running the practices with Coach Wonder and stepping it up. And I knew for myself, I was going to have a bigger role and not just play off the ball. X did everything for me last year. I kind of just played off of X. Right. But this year I was going to have the ball a lot more, make plays for my teammates, and score the ball myself.
When did you know that things were going in the right direction that you wanted to go this year?
It was kind of funny. It was the second game of the season. We just had came off a really bad loss to Owings Mills, and then we had Oakdale here, and we lost that game by 3 or 4, but it was a high-scoring game, and I knew if we figured some stuff out defensively, we could be pretty tough to beat.
You guys went on a nice run there. Then you had that middle of the season where you lost 3 or 4 in a row, maybe even been 5, and maybe people were saying, "Oh man, Valley, great start, but they're going to kind of go in the tank." And you guys went on an 8-game winning streak. Was it a verbal thing, or was it something that you just knew, hey, we're going to correct a couple things here in this over the last 10 days we've done wrong? You were unstoppable almost till the playoff run.
Yeah, we pulled each other in the locker room and we had a little talk, and we had to make practices better and focus in on some stuff, and we took off. We've had the talent the whole time. We just had to put it together.
You guys got yourselves in position to win the county title, then you had to kind of wait, and you were South Carroll fans that night when they played Winters Mill. What was that feeling like, though, when you knew, okay, it was at least going to be a tie, when you got to win it outright, when Winters Mill fell short against South Carroll? You don't want anybody, you're not rooting against anybody, but you're certainly rooting for the outcome. It had to be a cool feeling for the group of seniors and the whole team in general to be the first ones to win a county championship at Man Valley.
Yeah, I mean, it was an awesome feeling. We've been talking about that since last year. I think we were 9-3 last year too, and we were so close. And this year, that was the main goal. We wanted to come in, win the county, and to do that and win it outright, it was awesome.
You had some individual great games too. You had a couple 30-point games, definitely a handful of 20s. The one against Liberty, we talked about it earlier in the year, where it was they needed almost every point from you to win the game, and you got the last bucket in the last final seconds. Is that one of the ones you'll take with you? They'll say that was pretty fun as you guys beat them right down here on the court in the final few seconds.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one will always stick with me. It was a big game, and it was early in the season, but we knew, if we won that would help us in the county race. So I think that will always help stick with me.
I know the season didn't end the way you wanted it to, the loss against Linganore, but you had beaten them, about 2 weeks before that with an impressive win. You guys had an impressive wins all through the year, and you obviously put up points because, again, like you said, you maybe want to take that next step. How much extra work did you put in to wanting to become that guy? Hey, if I ran off X last year and he graduated, I need to do this or that to be that better player this year, so guys can run off me and do those kind of things.
I put in a lot of work. It started after the season was over, and then
a lot of extra shots go up.
Yeah. Early in the season, Coach Wonder showed me some film of some stuff that I didn't do so good.
Okay.
We had a talk right over there.
Okay.
And we worked some things out, and it was good.
Yeah. Regardless of how it ended, how much fun was this for your senior year? I mean, you want to go in there and win every game as the season starts in the goals sheet, county champs, whatever, you got regional championships. You got one of them with the county title. Put into words for me real quick how much fun it was to play with these guys. You had big crowds come out for your games. You had a good enthusiastic student section over there in the stands. Had to be a lot of fun.
It was so much fun. I mean, the only thing we didn't get is the region title, but those 6 seniors we had, I've never been with a tighter group, and it was a lot of fun coming to practice. All the coaches, even the JV and the varsity coaches, everybody was tight. And coming out here, playing in front of the big crowds, when you start winning, more people come. basically all I could ask for.
Yeah, no doubt. When, like you said, winning it cures a lot of things. How much pride is it to be the ones that are the first county champs? I mean, yes, there are regional titles and state titles, and other teams strive for those things, and counties don't mean that much to some people. I think it means a lot to them when you're the first one to do it. How much will you take away, pride-wise, and hey, I was the leader, one of the leaders on this team that was the first county championship team?
It's really cool. It will always stick with me. Especially because we've been talking about it since freshman year. We were like, yep, we're going to come in when the county's our senior year, and we did it.
Yeah.
So it was really cool.
That's pretty cool. Hey, man, it was a pleasure watching you this year. Congratulations on a great year. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Brendan Luddy, the CMSportsNet Boys Basketball Player of the Year. As you saw, Brendan was a big reason why the Mavericks won that first county championship. Over to wrestling now. Let's see the 3 finalists for Girls Wrestler of the Year. It's Manchester Valley's Faith Day, Winters Mill's Gabby McLeod, and Liberty's Aubrey Oler. And the winner is, for CMSportsNet Girls Wrestler of the Year, Gabby McLeod of Winters Mill. Gabby was unbeaten up until her state championship bout at 155 pounds. I got a chance to talk with her about how the Falcons won their first team county championship tournament title when they did it last month. Gabby, congratulations on an awesome season. Undefeated until you got to the state finals this year. But first, let's go back to the season as a whole. Was there a moment when you thought, as the wins started to pile up, hey, I got a good chance here to run the table if I just keep doing what I know to do and stay positive? Was there a moment during the season where you thought the sky's the limit here, I can go out and win a state championship?
Beginning of the season. I want to say after what happened last year, I had a different outlook on the way that I came into the season. So after what happened March of last year, I said, you know what, I'm going to dedicate myself, and this is the opportunity where I take all that I've learned and I put it onto the mat. And you saw what happened out of that. I did go undefeated until that final match, and I couldn't have done it without a proper mindset. I couldn't have done it without the best coach in the world. I couldn't have done it without my girls.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of how far I've come.
Refresh my memory then, what happened March of last year that got you to the point of this year?
All right, so freshman year, I got second in states, and it was a pretty big deal for me. It was for the school and everything.
Yeah.
And then, the whole time coming up into my sophomore year, I was undefeated up in 2 states as well that year, and everyone already thought in their minds, oh, she's going to be a state champion. And guess what did not happen? That I had a hiccup, and I had to, circle back from that hiccup, and I ended up placing 5th in states last year.
Right.
And I want to say it was pretty devastating, and it took me a while to kind of build back up to, where I am now, because, I came from a certain place, and to fall like that, it was pretty difficult to deal with. So when I came back into this junior season, I had a new outlook on what I was going to do. I wasn't going to be so focused on maybe winning every match, but just going out there and making sure that I did my best, and I put everything out there every time I wrestled.
Yeah, and obviously it paid off on the mat. You got to the county finals, and it's always a weird certain situation. Sometimes we have to wrestle a teammate in the girls tournament. You had to wrestle one of your teammates in the finals. You came out on top. We knew you're guaranteed a Wintersville champion, but you still want to go out and win the match. But is that a situation where you sort of, try not to think about it as much and just go out there and, like you said, have the same mindset you had, whether it's Liberty or Man Valley or Winters Mill or Westminster, and don't worry about the opponent in that certain situation?
I want to say it's the same mentality. Of course, you think about it, that is my teammate, somebody who I wrestle and I'm with every day.
Right.
However, a match is a match. And I said the same thing to her before the match, give it all you got. This is still your match, no matter who you're going up against.
Yeah. You mentioned you got to the States. You were 20-0 at the time, and you're facing Nebby Sarney, who was one of the top wrestlers in the country. She's a multiple-time junior national champ. You got to wrestle the match. There were things you wanted to work on.
Absolutely.
I know she kind of dominated the match right away. You said to me a minute ago, if we're going to lose to anybody, lose to a national champ. What was that experience like for you? What did you take from that match, knowing that you have a year to go, next year?
I want to say, the second that I walked off that match, the first thing that I said to my coach is, I will see you in a month for off-season training.
Oh, wow.
Because throughout the entire match, several things I picked up when I stepped off the match as well, off the bat as well. Several things that I know that I could have done better.
Okay.
And you can say, this is Nebby Sarney. Not a lot of people can say they've definitely beat her successfully. But I want to say that experience of that match, of course, I want to be a state champion, of course.
Yeah.
But what I learned from that match was definitely valuable, and I could take that into that next season whether I get state champion or not.
Right.
I definitely learned something from that. I learned that, you know, to be successful at the sport, you have to work, and that's what I plan to do in the next coming months.
You mentioned as a freshman you came in, and it was the sport of girls wrestling is so different from that year.
Absolutely.
In just 2 years' time, as now you're finishing your junior season. How proud are you to be a part of Winners Mill girls wrestling, and how great is it to see the girls wrestling sport in Carroll County just take off?
I'm very proud. I remember when I started out freshman year, and my physics teacher got me into wrestling in the first place. He used to be the guys coach. And, you know, I didn't know what the possibilities that I had starting out. I just thought I was just going to do a sport, and that was just kind of going to be it for me.
Yeah.
And then, you know, to see how I've done and see how the girls team and girls wrestling in general has grown since my freshman year, even with people that were seniors at the time that I was a freshman, the stories that they would tell me about what they've had to deal with, you know, a lot can change in even 2 years, and you know, now we're looking at higher states and bigger opportunities for girls in wrestling.
Yep.
And it's a wonderful thing to be a part of at the end of the day, and I'm very proud.
It's been fun to watch, and I know you're already getting ready with your off season, so I just wanted to say congratulations on a great year and good luck next year.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Congrats to Gabby McLeod, the CMSportsNet Girls Wrestler of the Year. You heard her, no hiccups. Seems like she's plenty motivated to keep things going next season. One more pick to go, and it's co-ed wrestling time now. The CMSportsNet Wrestler of the Year finalists here are all from South Carroll. JoJo Gelati, Grayson Barnhill, and Anthony Rodriguez. And our choice for CMSportsNet co-ed Wrestler of the Year is JoJo Gelati. The sophomore won a second state championship after guiding South Carroll to another remarkable winter season. Once again, it's Bob Blueball who caught up with JoJo to reflect on his standout year.
First off, JoJo, congratulations.
Thank you.
Great year, and second straight great year. So for you personally and as a team, you guys, team-wise, you might have thought that this might have been a year to get South Carroll. You guys lost a lot of great wrestlers from last year. How did you find a way to once again be as dominant as you have been the past several years? And what role, if any, do you play with helping the younger, less experienced wrestlers along?
Honestly, I think I just did a great job. Just trying to step up, be a leader for my team, and just lead them, like how the guys that did it before me last year, and just step into that role like they did.
How do you keep, the reinforcements coming? I mean, you lost a lot of really good wrestlers, and yet here you were, dominant as always this year as a team.
Yeah, like in the beginning of the year, Coach Hamp said you can't really replace those guys. You just got to have great wrestlers and but we do a really good job recruiting. Not recruiting, but we just get a lot of good wrestlers that come in, I feel.
So you led the county in wins and pins, I believe, this year. What were your most memorable matches? What are the ones that are going to really stand out when you're looking back on this season?
Definitely the first time we beat Middletown. That was a fun one because just showed where we were, and we were to eventually see them in the state finals, and that was definitely a good one. And then sealing the deal against Man Valley in January. Right. That was a good one too.
How about you individually? Any matches that really stand out for you that were tougher? I know a lot of them you were off the mat pretty quickly, but any of them that were really memorable for you?
Yeah, I had 2 matches against. One was a state champ, Drew Montgomery. That was a close one. That was a good one. And then Bo Schmidt was another good one. He was a state finalist last year. So they really got me battle tested.
They pushed you. Great. I don't think that you've ever lost in the state of Maryland, right? As I've been told, and I think you're 2-2 for winning state titles. Do you have to set your goals a little bit differently than other people? I mean, are you? Everybody would go into a season hoping, well, I hope I win a county championship or something like that. What do you have to do in terms of goal setting?
I kind of just set myself to a higher standard than everyone else, I feel like, and obviously my goal is to win a state title, but I try to do bigger things. We have nationals coming up soon, and I'm going to try to win that.
Okay, great. And now I understand your father was a state champion wrestler. Did he get you into wrestling to start with, and has he been involved in your development?
Yeah, he's a really big part. When I was 4, he used to coach at Sherwood, and he would bring me to all the practices and the duels and stuff like that. And I just fell in love with the sport.
Okay, great. Did you guys get on the mat together?
Yeah, this year actually.
Oh, yeah?
I've been wrestling him my whole life, but this year I think I got him. I finally got him, yeah.
It took this long, huh?
Yeah.
He still gets it done.
Yeah,
huh?
he rolls in here with us like he's the same age, but it shows after practice because he's always complaining he's sore and stuff.
Anybody else who deserves some credit in your development? Any fellow wrestlers or people that pushed you along the way?
Definitely another person that was in my development was my uncle. He coaches here, Tony Rodriguez. He was a big piece of mine. And then definitely AJ, my cousin, he was a big part. And then Michael Pizzuto and Gage. Definitely those 4 seniors last year really just showed me that I had to step up if I wanted to win another one.
I mean, what a perfect way to come in as a freshman, right? To have those guys to lead you, huh? Perfect. And I guess over the next couple of years, that's kind of be your goal, right? To try to help out and do those same type of things for the people coming up in the program, right?
And then this year, definitely having like the new Big Four was fun. Just all the sophomores, just Landon, Grayson, and it was just fun. And then just having the freshmen that came in too were very tough. I liked them, Davey, Brody, and then Lowe. He was a big piece for us too.
I mean, you guys have so many people coming back next year. I mean, it's got to be depressing for the rest of
and Evan, my man.
Yeah,
Evan
right,
too.
right.
Yeah,
I mean,
Evan was a really big piece.
It's got to be rough for these teams around here, knowing that you've got everybody back.
And we're all returning, and then Manny comes back, so we'll be fine.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. So what's the off season like for you? I don't know if I guess you train year round and you wrestle year round, or do you play any other sports? What will you be doing to get ready for next year?
I'm definitely gonna keep wrestling, just keep perfecting my craft and keep getting better from the years to come. That's basically it. I'm just really trying to get better every year.
Mm-hmm. How much do you spend a lot of time in the weight room?
In the summer I lift weights, but not right now usually because
Okay.
I've just been wrestling.
Right. Okay. And then obviously, you can see how physical the sport is. How much of it is mental? How much do you have to work on the mental side of it too? There's got to be a lot of strategy involved, that sort of thing. And is that a big part of your game?
Yeah, definitely. Mental is probably one of the most important things in wrestling. It's a lot of it's mental, and just don't overthink anything, or don't just say you have a match that day, you don't want to just think about it all day because then you wear yourself out.
I'm sure. Okay. So we talked a little bit about setting goals, but what about the next 2 years? I mean, how do you've accomplished so much already. How do you avoid letting complacency set in, and how do you stay just as motivated and working just as hard given all the success you've had?
I don't want to be complacent because there's still more to do. I still got to win 2 more as a team and 2 for myself, and I just want to be able to just say that everyone I worked with can win a state title. Mm-hmm. So this year I got at least 3 done with Anthony and Landon and Grayson. I work with them a lot, and I fell a little short with Evan, but we'll be back. We'll be fine.
And I know you're only your sophomore year, but I mean, are you starting to think about legacy a little bit? I mean, the things you've done your first 2 years, I mean, if you keep 2 more years like that, they'll be talking about you as maybe the best that's ever been around here.
Yeah, I think about it a lot, but there's a lot of good guys that came before me, but I still got 2 more years. I still got to prove myself.
Very good. Well, I'm sure you will. Thanks very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Big congrats to JoJo Gelati, the CMSportsNet Co-Ed Wrestler of the Year. Impressive to say the least, and you heard, still hasn't lost yet to a public school opponent from Maryland. A final congratulations to all the Player of the Year selections and to the championship performances we followed throughout the 23-24 winter season. It was quite a season and a pleasure to bring you our coverage. And that's it for the Winter Sports Wrap-Up Show episode of Game On. As always, we thank you for watching. Just a quick reminder, spring sports have begun and we have our spring sports season preview out for you. You can click the QR code there, scan it, and get all the action of the preview of girls lacrosse and boys lacrosse. We got a lot coming up for you, and the preview is out right now. And we have our first Game of the Week broadcast set for March 28th when Liberty hosts Westminster in County boys lacrosse action. Join me and Jeff Doolin for pregame coverage at 6:20, and the game is set to begin at 6:30 in Eldersburg. Looking forward to another season of Game of the Week in lacrosse. Be sure to catch all of our high school sports content online on Facebook and YouTube, as well as our website at cmsportsnet.com. And you can watch us, as always, on cable channel HD 1086. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Hungry? Genova's to go. Pizza, pasta, subs, and more. Fresh hot pizza right from the oven. Genova's to go. A mouth-watering cheesesteak just off the grill. Genova's to go. Fresh baked bread and plump wings seconds from the fryer. Genova's to go. Genova's to go carry-out, delivery, mobile device, and online ordering is available at all locations. Westminster, Hampstead, Manchester, and our newest dining room in Eldersburg for lunch, dinner, or any time in between. Genova's to go.